programs in ninth dimension or from somewhere. Alright, yeah, it's gonna be a short one. Yesterday was kind of long, actually. I don't remember what the subject matter of this one is. Third dimension deprogramming. Hope I spelled that right. Deprogram. Yeah, it's not a keyword for the algorithm. Oh well. I was going to channel the Anunnaki for some reason. I didn't want to put them in the title because I don't want to give them that. I haven't picked up on them, but I haven't connected them in ages. Not at all. It's not to pick up on their energy, not very often. They're watching. Oh yeah, this is it. Also, the astral is kind of chaotic due to the holiday, and obviously there's a lot of manipulations. Obviously, and I picked up on this morning of just they want always. I mean, this is nothing new, but to control entities want to just have everyone under their control. There's nothing new there, right? And it's not going to plan as usual, but they're trying to influence and keep the system going. So like what I'm doing and other people are doing, just to you can step out of that. It's not exciting. I guess it can be, but it's not as thrilling as it is being part of the system. So you could say some of us or all of us are working with those that are programmed. Well, yes, in some level, but does it go deep? I guess it can, depending on the situation. There's different levels of that. Always energetically assisting those that are hard-headed and all kinds of stuff. They could be kids, it could be wherever. Kids are probably more difficult ones because they, of course, I also have the parents that some of them are raising their kids ass backwards. That's kind of the point. Talking about challenge, just incarnating that, just right out of the gate, right into challenge, especially if you're not wanted or something like that. So, of course, it's still a reflection on the self. Well, self-importance, self-love, things like that. So, and obviously, it can take a lifetime to get things somewhat together, I guess, depends on the situation. I'm being very general with that. So, that might make any sense, but either way. Well, it might take a lifetime just to get out of one lesson, let's put it that way, or a self-love lesson, or lifetimes. Yeah, the self-love thing is, can you love yourself in an environment like this? Especially when you're doing things that you probably shouldn't be doing. So, yeah, and just bringing on more toxic energies instead of just more attracted to the toxic frequency than the non-toxic, and just doing what is expected of you and so on. Whatever. That's a lot of 3D programming, but either way. Deprogramming the physical realms. If I say the more the astral realm slowly become more known, it is obviously the lower astral that's connected to this place is very toxic and just chaotic, similar to here, maybe worse. Like I say, all the secret space programs are connected to that. MK Ultra is connected to it. At least the lower part of it, the higher realms. It's not so well. Some of it might be there, but there are areas, in the fourth dimension that are higher. But you have to come into the sludge to get close to this place, right? they're in the astral realms, a non-physical realm, and it's like, oh, look at all that sludge around Earth. Get ready for chaos, everybody. Brace yourself as you get closer to the Earth plane. So, jeez. Yeah, that's why. The aliens have to obviously protect their frequent. I mean, a lot of them are. A lot of them aren't either. Well, yeah, especially on a ship with a crew, and not everyone is up to par. I mean, it's basically they're protecting themselves, individually. Because some of them, like here, is a way in. If they have some kind of darkness, whatever it is that hasn't been at least attempted to be healed, a vulnerability. Everybody has vulnerabilities, but you can also be aware of your vulnerability and protect it. It's like you have issues, but you're not letting that be a manipulation point. So if you're an alien group that's on a ship, we'll just use that analogy, and the ship's crew is getting closer to our psychotic world. Obviously, the entities all around this place love to eat everyone alive, basically, like a parasite. And so that's where the aliens get a lot of tests, and one of their crew members might go rogue or whatever it is. They saw it coming, but they can't always see everything. They can get mentally blocked too, to some level. That's why it's good to have a collective there, a couple of other beings there to see it. Because you're connecting to this place, where there is no boundaries. This planet doesn't know what boundaries are. At least the collective doesn't here. The Earth people, a lot of them don't care. Because like an alien group connected here, can they get pulled into a reincarnation cycle here? I think some of them, depending on the situation, It's kind of the point. It's like, we like your power, we want to manipulate you and pull you down to our level so we can eat you alive. Yeah, it sounds great, doesn't it? Welcome to Earth. Here we incarnate here willingly into the beast. Well, into the society that's completely tapped out or checked out. The war planet. That's just, it has to do with... it's not just, the past used like the reptilians is like kind of a gag, like blame them. And yes, they do have issues, yes, but everybody does. But the reptilians do have a ability to connect to the physical, like they come from a physicality reality. I don't know, they can just access it. At least here, they can access it pretty easily. They can do the non-physical and the physical. Of course, that is not always what's cracked up to be, because that's where they can get manipulated too. Like in the non-physical, I feel like they can get less manipulated, but in the physical, like if they more tapped into it or work with it somehow, it can bring up some vulnerabilities and they get hijacked and so on. I know it sounds weird there, but I just feel with them they have sometimes a better understanding or groundedness of the physical than other higher dimensional beings. Just the way their DNA is and all that, and just like their personalities are very similar to ours to some level. Like the Pleiadians and the Syrians can be very, it's like you're talking to a college professor. They don't really have the most emotional connection. Of course, sometimes that's good. Sometimes we have enough personality here. We need insight. How do you break free? Easier said than done. Well, especially with an individual here, is not obviously finished with especially when they get their energy hijacked here, which is common, and they have to go through that process until they're ready to break free out of it. They get some spiritual guru that takes them for a ride, or there's plenty of those out there, and they just follow the crowd of it. Well, it's not necessarily not always a negative. It's just something they're not. It depends. They can break out of the reincarnation. It depends, but if you want to complete this place, like you can leave here. I think you can leave here and not have to incarnate, but it is sometimes good, but you still have ties here. You can feel like there's still unfinished business here, let's put it that way. So incarnate here too, to finish that out, to cut those cords. And then that's part of your graduation. It doesn't have to be an easy graduation. It doesn't have to be joyous. It doesn't mean there's a party. It just means you don't have to, you feel less, reliant on, you don't feel that much of a connection here anymore. And you can move on to other places without feeling this place pulling on you from other realities. It can, depending on the city. Well, if you feel like you're less fulfilled here, or you weren't exactly up to par when we were here, or like a complete disaster, which is normal. And just like, do you want to leave this place like that, or do you want to better yourself, or whatever? It depends on the individual on that. And the hijacked beings that are here manipulating everyone, well, they'll just get recycled here over and over again. They just have to get a different color and this is their home. So yeah, like some of these spiritual gurus, the cult leaders, this is their home. And so this is why they have the power that they do with the audience, with the psychic abilities, and this is because they can't leave here. Not really. They're probably not strong enough or even care, because they're given gifts here, saying sort of. They're given power over others to some level. They're power hungry. Yeah, it's messed up. But this is their home, and that's part of the awakening too, is seeing that. It's like, damn, dude, no wonder they were having fun here. Yeah, this is the devil's playground. They're the devil, basically. So, yeah, that's why they're successful and whatever. It can still be successful and not be that, but there's a lot of beings here doing that, though. So, luckily, a majority here are just visitors. Yeah, and this is a vacation planet. Jeez. It's an educational vacation. Very draining vacation. Yeah, this is the R&R planet. Some are taken to a whole nother level. They're so R&R here. They're so, it's called, brainwashing to the extreme. Yeah, they stay here forever. Exactly. So anyway, watch themselves go down the drain. Obviously deprogramming from all this isn't easy as it sounds. Can be done. Just you have to just know that the agenda is a hold you here. Knowledge is one thing, that's good. Yeah, knowledge is you come here, but obviously the money situation here I think some of that has to do with just the beings here are just so out of control. They're not grounded. They need something. Yeah, it's kind of an imprisonment to some level. Not entirely, but there's parts of that. But it still has to go through it, so it's a school. It's not necessarily imprisonment. Oh, I guess it can't seem that way, but it's a university. It's like the job is like your chair in your classroom. And the environment we're in is the classroom, and if you're allowed to move around, it shows you're more of a counselor. But if you have to sit in your position and just sit there, well, then you're being educated. So, of course, you're bringing your own insight here and there. Maybe. So, all right, to feel the Anunnaki here for some bizarre reason. Not sure what well, it's another part of the programming. I guess they came up a little bit today, but not by me. So, it's been a while. In the beginning of all this, I remember tapping into the Anunnaki. I could feel like it was like I can never do this again, but I actually felt their height. It was tall. I think like 9 feet tall. But if I tap into him again, I can never feel that again, because you can feel their presence. I don't think they expected me to do that. I never. Well, when I was first understanding all of this, and then I hear about the Anunnaki being here, it's like, oh really? And so I tapped into their energy, and I don't think they were too happy about that. So I just felt how tall they were. That was all. That's about it. Of course, over time, I feel their frequency, their days of our lives. Their torment. So, okay, all right. Yeah, we can happen on, give Anunnaki perspective, a neutral connection, and we'll move on from there. All right, what's next? Greetings, Anunnaki. Yes, the different versions of us. It's not that, well, it's not that important for us to explain ourselves. Yes, there's a love and hate relationship with us, of course. Well, some have experienced our domination or ruling over your society to some level, our selfishness, but also we blended in with your frequency. Yes, you can say materialism has a lot to do with us because we can be very materialistic and arrogant and just, yes, psychotic, or what's the word? We can't even think of the word. The word's blocked from us. Oh, narcissistic. Yes, many can be truly the most toxic beings. Yes, in your universe is Anunnaki, narcissist Anunnaki. Worse than your reptilians, but no, kind of petty at the same time, of course. But well, it's understanding this reality too, and Anunnaki known to like hoard information, knowledge, objects. Sometimes they're known as collectors. Like they're collecting fine jewelry or things like that, or rare artifacts that are physical artifacts, not necessarily spiritual, but just they like to flaunt their wealth, let's put it that way. Some of you have seen that. And they can take it to the extreme. It was like, hey, look, I have this nice pretty thing, look at me, and dangling in front of people, and it's so shallow. Yes, well, not that we're still learning, but it's something you just can't unlearn. It's just part of our society. That's only more the upper class, similar to your world, but I don't necessarily we use gold, we use shiny things, things that are attractive to us. It can't, yes, and that's where it gets weird, because it can be a person. It could be, a thing, but it can get kind of, you wonder of morality, depending on, is it traffic? Yes, of course, there's some form of that, of course, we experience that with you, and there's always forms of that in other realities. The beings that traffic other humans or entities obviously have no self-love, but they also have, they're looking for knowledge. Oh, it's mostly just using individuals as payment, as as a resource. And what does it do? What does it do to their soul? Not. It doesn't do it well. No. Sometimes those souls get devoured and just vanish. It all depends on the situation. Do they become slaves? They can. Demeaning. But for disconnecting from your reality, it's different for everyone, of course. Everyone has their own flavor of escape. Is it a jail system? Oh, it's a mindset that might not, so many of you, well, that's one thing about incarnating here constantly. It's not great, but, you're seeing the rodeo. So the programming here doesn't work with you as much as because you've been through all of it, and that's kind of the joys of it too. Just go through all of it. But you've been here so many times. You've been there. You got out of it. Some of you join every cult known to man. Might as well. But then you can see similarities in your current reality and just say, I don't think so. He did that to me before. I'm not doing that again. So you get like you break free. Yeah, you can literally break out of the matrix more than others, as some of you have noticed. And it's almost painful because you're so outside the system. Your energy is so opposite of those inside of it, because those are inside the matrix mindset. It's just they find a familiarity. Like, oh, you believe the same nonsense as I do. Let's get together. And so I can torture you, or whatever it is. But those of you who have seen that, all that, you've been through all of those things, those tricks don't work anymore. So like I say, that's the benefits of incarnating here. It's not always the best, but coming here, yes, it's like you keep going to this. It doesn't matter if you like repeat the same life over and over again. You always get something out of it, no matter what. And sometimes there's something there you need to clear or whatever. Whatever needs to be accomplished there. But once, not to say we're trying to promote you to have to keep incarnating here for a trillion years, but we're just saying for those of you who feel like you've been here forever, there's a reason for it. And you're here to give guidance to those that have been pulled into the trickery. So they don't have to stay here forever. They can make the leap out of here and go somewhere else where they can get manipulated somewhere else. Not necessarily. But it's not just clearing the physical, but it's also clearing the astral realms, as some of you know, because the astral realms, the murky side of it, can be just as dense as this place. I mean, not physically, but manipulation-wise. As some of you have heard, you leave this world and you go to the spirit realms, and it's like they don't tell you how there's some go to places they're not happy with, but they eventually find their way out of it. So doesn't mean they're trapped there, but they can be. Not to put fear out there, but I think some of you understand that, because this all comes from somewhere. And obviously the astral realms, this can be quite more intense. So once again, that's why you incarnate so many times. You're bringing that knowledge here of helping others escape. It's like, okay, you follow my lead, you can escape the prison society or prison mentality, wherever you want to work at it. Unscathed. Won't be perfect, but at least you'll get out a little bit easier. So you just have the knowledge for it. So then you can incarnate here because you have the knowledge to help. And yes, you might feel the depths of this place. Yeah, it's like, what am I doing here and all that? But it's like you're bringing a ladder, to the prison gate for others to, if they want to, escape, or you bring a slide or whatever it is, so they can just, find their way out of the minefield of manipulations. Obviously, others have not healed their frequency, but it's difficult because it's like being here. You kind of like you feel the storm of society and manipulations, and yes, beings don't want you here, because you're helping others find their way out, if it's all foggy. But when you're here, you might feel like you're kind of getting rained on, getting hit struck by lightning, energetically. You feel like your shoes are all wet. It just feels like, man, what? It's like, what am I staying out in the rain for? But but you are like outside the system. You're outside. Another way of what is it? Judge Dredd, the mega city. So you're like on the outskirts of that, but they make it look like it's a desert out there. Oh, there's no man's land. Not necessarily. There is, they just want to say that because stay in our little reality of hell. To stay here forever. And you're saying no, you can, it might look like the desert, but there's also ways of breaking free. But of course, not everyone believes that. But either way, it's just you're basically helping those break out of the mindset. But those are part of the mindset. Yes, the cults and all the just. Is it knowledge? Sometimes it's insecurity. Sometimes it's stupidity. It's all, it is knowledge. But then they look back at their lives like, oh, what was I, why? And there is usually a I told you so somewhere. energetically, physically, whatever it is. But for those of you that are, feel like you are part of, I guess you can call it the escape plan. It's just basically to help you basically sharing your, and it's up to the individual. I mean, you don't have to listen to anything, but there's at least want to break free, because yes, the energies here, as you can see, are very seductive. Very, I mean, they use looks, they use words, they use all this, seducing you into a reality of control. And it's like those of you that are not part of that are like in the jungle with a knife, or a sword, or whatever you want to call it, and you're breaking those cords down for others to see. But it's still up to them if they want to break free. And a lot of them are afraid, and because it is a wilderness. Once you break free, it's like, where do I go now? What do I do? This is weird. So, and some do stray back into the system, as some of you have noticed that. So, yes, that's all we have. Blessings.